Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Teams in 20. We are really excited this week because we're going to try something new. And this week we have got a customer showcase. So I've got two customers that have kindly given up their time to tell us what's saving them time in their organisations. Who are we welcoming today? Well, we have got Bilal Ahmed. And Bilal is from Blackburn with Darwin Council. It's a bit of a title. Unfortunately, he's on holiday. Not unfortunate for him, but unfortunate for us. So we've recorded his session. But then we're going to head over to Tori Wheeler from Sainsburys, and Tori is going to take us through a session on keeping on top of your to-do. We're going to kick off straight away with Bilal because we've got lots to share. And yeah, I know you're going to be excited about this one. So let's get started. And Bilal's going to be talking to us about the scheduling poll. So I'm really excited this week because we have got our first customer who has come along and answered my call when I asked for you to come and show me something that a feature that you're enjoying, something that was saving you time. And Bilal said, have you seen the scheduling poll? This is a great little feature that he uses that is going to save us some time. And I'm so excited today that Bilal, you're here to show us how you're using this in Blackburn and Darwin Council, and maybe, if you're finding it great, I'm sure other people are going to get as much out of this as you are. So I'm going to hand straight over to you, Bilal, and tell us what you're using scheduling poll for and how it's saving you some time.
Yep, so this presentation is designed to give a bit of an overview into how I found the scheduling poll to be useful. So hopefully at the end of this presentation, you can learn what the scheduling poll is, how to set up the scheduling poll, how to use the scheduling poll, and you'll get a brief sort of comparison of the previous method of setting up meetings and how the scheduling poll really just improves upon that method. So what is the scheduling poll feature? This feature enables the organizer to send multiple options through a scheduling poll and minimize the back and forth emails about scheduling. This feature is especially useful when setting up meetings with many people who have busy calendars, as it reduces the volume of work needed from the host of the meeting, as once the responses are filled in by the attendees, it's just a matter of setting our invite and the meeting is set up. So over here on the right hand side, you can see what it would sort of look like once you're kind of like just about to send out the invites. You've got the available times on the bottom. You've got the date that's been selected and the time as well. How to use the scheduling poll feature. To access the feature, you can use mail or your calendar, and it is only available on Outlook for Web at the current moment. So firstly, you will create a new email or select an email to reply to, then list the required attendees for the meeting in the To field and optional attendees in the CC field, select scheduling poll in the message tab, and how to actually create the poll. So it's once you've done that sort of the last step that was discussed, the scheduling poll will look through the attendee schedules and suggest a list of meeting times. So that will just come up with a list of times that Outlook believes that the attendees will be available. Then you'll select a few sort of suitable meeting times, and once you select next, you will finish creating the poll. So that poll will be then added into the email, and you just have to click send to send the email and start the voting process. And here on the right hand side, you can see a screen grab which just shows the step that you can get to before you actually create the poll. So it just shows a bit more kind of like in a bit more detail about the poll settings and just the location, the date. And this final section is just going to be a comparison of the scheduling poll with the previous method used of setting up meetings. So on the next slide, you'll see an example of the previous method, which involved the organizer of the meeting sending out an email with times that will be available. Then one of every attendee would reply to that email with their preferred time. And this method was a lot more time consuming than using the scheduling poll, and would lead to errors being made, such as people's responses being missed or attendees responding too late. So if for example, you were setting up a meeting in a meeting room, that meeting room could have already been booked by someone else. And yeah, so here you can see just sort of an example. So you'd send, so in our sort of company, you just send an email out with all the dates and the times. Then you would just have to wait for each individual attendee to respond. And the scheduling poll sort of just cuts this whole entire process out. So it makes it a lot more easier for the person setting up the meeting.
Excellent. How much time do you think you've saved, Bilal, through just changing the way that you did that? So before you'd get all these different emails back with, I can do this time, I could do that time. I suppose, yeah, you're cutting back on a lot of email there.
I'd say easily about maybe 20 minutes to half an hour, I'd say. And
yeah,
because it kind of automates the whole process. You know, you get to really take a step back from it.
Yeah, it's all those time savings just really make a difference, don't they? And it definitely makes it a lot less stressful. Thank you so much for stepping up and showing us what's saving you time. Really appreciate that. We're always looking for customers to kind of show us what you've been doing, because if you're finding something useful, other people will too. So if you've got any great ideas, you want to come and do a bit of show and tell on a Teams in 20 session, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks, Bilal.
Thank you.
So I hope you find that useful. I know I did. Since I had that conversation with Bilal, I've actually started using Schedule and Poll myself a lot more. And I just love the fact that it's in the sidebar, it quickly tells me on the desktop version, when the next time are both available. So not spending lots of time looking through the schedule calendar tab. So that is awesome. I hope you can get started with that if you haven't used it before. Now, I'm really excited to introduce our next speaker, Tori Wheeler, who's a senior change and adoption agent at Sainsburys. She's also my go-to person if I want to know what's happening in M365, in all honesty, because she's always first to know what new features are coming in. In fact, it was Tori that told me that Find Time was due to be replaced by scheduling polls. So welcome, Tori. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. I'm going to hand straight over to you, because I know we're all excited to learn more about how we can be more productive, and especially how we can use To-Do. Thanks, Tori.
Tremendous. Okay, so I love to-do tasks. In fact, I love them so much, I've made it my business to talk about it quite a lot this year. So let me flick into the next slide. I am probably still a little bit too much this person. There are post-it notes everywhere. There is tiny bits of paper with different tasks, different things, different concepts, stuff I need to keep on top of. And they kind of look a bit like this. So this year, and I know we're hurtling towards the end of it, I have made it my mission to get better at to-do. In actual fact, I feel a bit of a guru, so I now talk about this quite a lot. So the passion is real. Let me share that with you. I'm actually going to talk about the To-Do mobile app, because I know that that's available to anybody, and certainly in Sainsburys that's available for any of our colleagues. So a really universal, really inclusive tool. It also works really well on the web version and via Outlook. So completely universal, regardless of wherever and whenever I might want to use it. So I'm going to tap into the to-do screen here, and I'm doing it rather than a demo. I've got some slides, so hopefully they play perfectly for us. So whether it's my day, important, planned or flagged, I can keep on top of whatever it is that's required. But I've also got individual lists at the bottom, so I might plan those by specific project tasks. Let's keep it simple, and we're going to start a nice new task. Now, I don't know about you, whether you're on the way to work or on the school run, or you've thought of something at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's definitely me. These ideas pop into my head when I'm feeling completely creative, and I want to capitalize on that. So I never drop the ball on any of these hundreds of tasks, because there's so many of them, aren't there, that float around, whether that's like something for personal or something to go on the shopping list or a work thing or something longer term. So Alf's long service is my demo, and that's the kind of thing we really like to celebrate here at Sainsburys when we've got a colleague who's got some long service. So I've given it a meaningful task, a meaningful title, and I'm going to then either set in a due date or maybe a reminder, or if it's relevant, and not particularly with this one, but I might want something to have a repeat. Now, I definitely do this for those mundane tasks, those things that fill up our brains, when really we should be letting our brains think much more strategically. So something like a timesheet or an expenses, something you kind of do maybe every week or every fortnight. I don't want to drop that task, but I equally don't want to spend time thinking about it. So to do can let me tap into that second brain, a really great concept that I've kind of really learned to love this year. So just go back to Alf's long service. This is something that's important, so I'm going to star it, make sure it's important. It's going to show then in both of my to-do lists, so I definitely don't forget. I need to set a specific time for this because we want to celebrate this person's long service, but there's lots more steps that I need to add in. Now, I might not actually have achieved any of those tasks yet, but while I'm thinking about them, rather than just a bit of paper that says sort out the long service, there's many more steps that are going to help me achieve that. So I've gone with a Graham Allcott Productivity Ninja. That's the name of his book. I'm sure he would call himself that as well. I think he might be my new hero. So this year I've really read his books and delved into some more of his online content. So I cannot recommend that enough. Graham Allcott Productivity Ninja. And I've built on what he says here with those individual steps have got a really clear verb. I've done it in bold, I've done it in capitals. I need to book a space. I need to buy a card. I need to do the comms. Whatever it is that's helping me to plan how I will achieve that task really well, and making my future self's life easier. I think that's the easy way to say that. So when it does come to me going, oh, it's coming up to this task time, what do I need to do? I've got really clear, tangible, easy to read at a quick glance tasks to achieve this. So there's individual steps. I think you can add up to 20 on to do, are going to help me to go, I feel completely in control of this task. So I'm going to add it into my day diary. And if you're doing this through the Outlook app, or you can go back into your task through the Outlook app, you can also tag a category that is relevant. So I like to use very visual tools, quite a visual learner. I know most people are. And I've given it a red colour and I've called it preparation required. That means that when I'm looking across my diary or my to-do list, I've got a really good handle on, gosh, I've got quite a lot to do, or actually, do you know what? I'm winning this week. Amazing. So I've categorized those in the Outlook app. I've customized them, and it's going to help me to be able to tag whatever I need to do. Not available in the app, so feedback from Microsoft there, but it's definitely available if you're doing it on the web version. You can also add in at the bottom here, you can add in notes or maybe files or attachments. So if it was something that was relevant to, whilst I'm thinking about this task, I can capture all of the things I might want today, ready for my future self to feel totally more on top of it next time. So let's go back to the main screen. So I've gone for the burger button, as certainly we like to call it here in Sainsburys. And I can now see my overview, those important tasks that have obviously meant something to me and I've starred them, but also any planned any planned tasks where I've added in a future due date or flagged emails. I'll come on to that in a mo. So let's tap into those planned ones. It out of my mind, that active working brain. Hopefully you can still see me, Joe. I think that's
there's
right.
a small blip, but you're back.
Okay, cool. So on my planned emails or tasks, I've taken something out of my brain where I don't want to be kind of carrying around I need to do this by next Thursday, popped it into my planning task. So I'm in control of when that might be. And you can change those task dates, obviously. But my flagged email, this is where this really comes into its own, because To Do as an app linked in with Outlook allows me to keep on top of those tasks. And then we can capture that as well in the Teams app, which we'll look at in just a tick. So those flagged emails where somebody sent me a list of something or a request or some information, I'm like, oh, this is great, but I just need to maybe not worry about it today, but I want to make sure I don't forget it. So I've clicked one little flag and either customized the dates or just added it into next week's tasks, and it's popped it here in my to-do list. So I don't drop the ball on anything, and I've got all of the context that I need when it comes to actually achieving those tasks. So when you've got your big old task list, regardless of what sources you've brought it in with, you can then go in and sort by either importance or due date or alphabetically, or however it is you want to capture that content so that you're seeing it in the way that you most want to achieve it. Pretty nice. It would be remiss of me not to talk about the absolute win that is the instant reward of play completion sound. So you can see that as the third one down. Definitely you can set this on your app, but it also works on your to-do app if you're using the desktop version. And when you tick something off, you get very satisfying ding sound. So, I mean, who doesn't want to feel like, yes, instant reward factor for actually clicking these things? So, so just all in all, a really simple app, but an absolute win. Now the app gets better because it's linked in with the Teams version of tasks by planner and to do. This app makes me chuckle because it's such a clunkily named but perfectly named app, and I know there's more to come from Planner in 2024, so I'm excited to hear more about that when there's more on offer. But if you're working in Teams all the time, which obviously this audience is, find that tasks by planner and to do and pin it to that left hand rail. So I can now add my tasks in here, and if you're more comfortable with typing than you are with using your mobile app, you can then capture all of those great things that you've got on those scribbly bits of paper or post-it notes and just start adding them to your to-do list. Take them out of your brain and just pop them on the list. We can then also add in some of those priority. So is it important? Does it need flagging? Is it low priority? Do I want to add it to today, or is it just something I don't want to forget? Or maybe I need to set a different due date or move it into a different part of my task planning list world. You'll see what that works like when you start doing it. And those are just my tasks, but it gets even better. I'm in a team meeting, team chat, group chat, whatever, and somebody's gone, oh, can you do this? So good old task has come about during conversation, like most of them do. So I'm going to hit those three dots and I'm going to pop down and get create task. Now, if you're using this quite a lot, it's going to appear in that first menu for the three dots. So go create task. And this is then going to bring up that exact message with all of that context. And you can see in the notes section there, it's even given me the link to go back to that conversation. So I've got who asked me what, when they asked me, and all of the relevant links. Now, good practice would be to rename that task. And I've renamed it using that clear one bold verb. Coordinate this meeting. I'm going to add it to my task list, and I'm going to add a due date or set priority. Hit add. Now, in the desktop app, you can, in the Teams app, I should say, you can also change that from a task or add it to one of your planner boards. And then the options change somewhat. So that also you can put it into different buckets, or I can assign it to somebody. And when it comes around to me achieving it, I can go straight back and capture all of the content in the context that was required. All of this is enabled by Viva Insights. And so dip into your focus plan. Obviously, we couldn't be without focus plan, could we? And then go through and configure those settings so that you're giving yourself that strategic planning time to actually list out those tasks, but then to actually execute them. I love how intuitive it is, and it knows exactly where I would need them in the day. My focus time for me is the morning. But of course, I also need a break and quiet hours to actually be my most productive self. So keeping on top of my to-do list. Thanks, Jo.
Well, that was absolutely awesome. You totally showed people how to present a lot better than I do. So, yeah, that's brilliant. I'm going to have to go back and take a look at how I've been using To Do, because I think there's some really great tips there that I haven't really thought about. And especially on my mobile as well, because I take notes on my mobile. Like, why am I not doing To Do? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So that Absolutely, it was absolutely fantastic. I'm also a massive fan of the ding noise. It is more than satisfying. I know we're at time, so thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Tori. That was absolutely amazing. I hope you'll come back and show us some more of your great work. If you've got anything that you want to ask about in the future, we'd love to for you to fill in that feedback form and let us know what you'd like to see, or any comments on today. Would you like to do more of these type sessions? We'd like to know that too. And that is it. That is everything from us today. I've put some links in the chat for you, so please do go join that Superheroes community. Tell your colleagues about these sessions. And next week we are going to be talking automation with forms and lists. So hopefully we'll see you next week, and have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you, everybody.